So are we supposed to start the podcast?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Crushed it.
Crush Nation.
Meemaw, I have a new idea.
Okay.
I think that we should give ourselves the opportunity to be either positive or negative at the beginning of the episode.
Okay. Well, I'll try.
So what I'm going to introduce to the Patriots and to the iHipsters and to Meemaw, America's greatest legal mind, is you can either tell me what you've had it with or you can tell me what you've been hitting.
Okay. So what I've been hitting is I'm a new mom of a baby French bulldog. And he is the sweetest, cutest, snuggliest little love muffin on the planet. So I'm hitting puppies right now.
You are. And I just want to, obviously, listener, this is huge news because, as you know, in the permanent record that we keep here at I've Had It podcast, the very first entry is that Pumps is not a good pet owner.
Right.
So I just want everybody to know that Kiley and Seth and myself have been engaged in a lot of oversight. We've done a lot of parenting classes.
Right.
A lot of prenatal work. And our eyes are on her. And so far, so good. Why don't you share with the listener what your dog's name is?
Oliver Glizzard Sullivan. And I call him Ollie, and Jennifer calls him Little Gliz.
Lil Gliz.
The Little Gliz.
Here's the situation with that. We have teenage sons, and everything's a glizzy, which is a hot dog, which then you can take your brain to junior high, teenage boy humor, and then you know what the hot dog is. So I think it's hilarious for Meemaw at her advanced age to have a dog named Lil Gliz. Number one, I think it makes you hip.
It's going to take a lot more than Little Gliz to get me hip.
Lil Gliz and Meemaw.
Little Gliz and Meemaw and Blaze. Blaze, to this point, just kind of ignores him.
Right.
The big Siberian Husky.
Siberian Husky. And I'll just tell you this much. There's no way you're giving that Lil Gliz a haircut.
Well, no, but French Bulldogs don't have bad hair.
I know, but I just think that if there's a way that you could fuck it up, you'd try.
I might try, but I don't think, at this point, I have no plans to do that.
He is adorable.
He's precious.
He is adorable. Okay. I want to share with you all a comment that I saw on Instagram from Debbie.
Okay.
She commented on a post that Kiley put up where we're talking about something we've had it with. It's not even that, it's not even that controversial. And here's how Debbie responds to the post. Both of you make most real Americans vomit. Go the fuck away. Get 8 hours of beauty sleep. Ugly people need 9 hours, but y'all need 12 hours of sleep. Okay. So I went to Debbie's Instagram page because I was curious about her, right?
What's Debbie's backstory?
Okay. Debbie's bio is number one realtor, mother, daughter, sister, but most importantly, Nana to 2 handsome grandsons. All right, that's phase 1 of my reconnaissance.
Okay.
Phase 2 is you go to following, okay? And then the following populates, and then you type in the search, TRUMP, okay? Let me tell you who all she follows.
Okay.
We got Don Jr.,
Naturally.
Lara Trump, Ivanka Trump, the real Donald Trump, Eric Trump, Donald Trump _2024, Students for Trump, the Trump Organization, Melania Trump World, Team Trump, Ivanka Trump Team, Sophie Trump, Barron Trump, Ivanka Trump Looks, Serbs for Trump 2024, like the Serbian people.
Right.
Melania GOP, Melania Trump fan page, Melania Trump official fan, Barron Trump fan page, Greeks for Trump, Pursuit of Happiness with Trump, Trump Forward 24, Trump Patriots 45, Trump for President 2024, another Donald Trump fan page, DonaldTrump.team, Elegant Melania Forever, and Trump Latinos 24. That's phase 2 of the recon.
Right.
Phase 3 is the following. You go back to the search, okay, the following. You click following, and then it populates, and then you can type in. Now I'm going to type in another person's name, Jesus. Oh my gosh. Remember she told us to fuck off, that we look
Right.
like vomit.
Right.
Real Americans hate us.
Uh-huh.
Listen to this. Success in Jesus. Jesus is the only way. Christian reels. God says love. BibleGod.Jesus. Jesus' endless grace. Jesus Bible Live. And Christ will lead.
You know, she really is practicing what would Jesus do.
So Debbie, the realtor,
Number one,
who
realtor.
told us to vomit, told us we weren't real Americans.
Right. We were ugly.
It's interesting. She follows, just a shit ton of Trump pages.
All the Trump pages.
Lots of Jesus pages.
Right.
And first and foremost, the analysis I want to make on that is the real Americans. It's such a stupid thing to say. I have a hot news flash for you, Debbie. We're both American.
Right. We are both
American
real.
passports.
Yeah.
We were born in red states. We live in red states.
Yep.
Our kids are American. Our parents were American. Our grandparents were American. Our great-grandparents were American. Just because you like Donald Trump doesn't make you more American than we are. And I would even argue it might make you a little less, considering he tried to overthrow the American government.
Right. I would think that all these people hijacking the word patriot / real Americans need to take a look in the mirror and say, would a real American be down with a coup? Would a real American want to take away rights from other people? Apparently, the real Americans that follow Trump do.
Well, I just want to say, Debbie, that we are taking back the word patriot.
That's right. We're done. Everybody hijacking patriot.
So listen up, patriots. Welcome to I've Had It. I'm Jennifer.
I'm Angie.
She is a real American. She's a real American lawyer. She's a real American podcaster. Some even say she is America's Meemaw. So back off, Deb.
Back off, Deb.
Kiley, what do you think about Debbie?
The weirdest thing about Debbie is that she's following a fan page for like a 15-year-old boy. That one stood out to me.
Baron Trump.
Trump fan page.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird.
It's weird.
Fucking weird because she's a meemaw.
It's weird. My favorite is Jesus's Endless Grace. She follows that account. And then in her spare time as a side hustle, she tells Pumps and I that we make her want to vomit and we need to get 12 hours of sleep a night.
Right, because we're so ugly.
Hashtag Jesus's Endless Grace.
Hashtag so much grace from Debbie.
These Christian Trumpers are the meanest, trolliest trolls on the planet.
They really
And here's the thing, Deb, you don't hurt our feelings.
No, we're fine with it.
I just like to do the 3-prong analysis. First, you read the bio. Then you look at who they're following. And there's always a link between the Trumpers and Jesus. And their breed of Trumpy Jesus-y stuff is troll, mean, accusing actual Americans of not being Americans. And like, that's a burn. Like,
Right.
Oh, Deb doesn't think we're Americans.
Well, but they're all such snowflakes. Maybe it would hurt their feelings if somebody said they weren't American.
Deb, we don't think you're a real American.
We don't think you're a real American. We think that you are a mean-spirited butthole.
And I think you're a bad realtor.
And I just wonder.
I don't think you're number one. I think we're talking like 1047th top realtor.
Agree. And I just wonder, does she kiss her grandchildren with that mouth, saying we make people vomit, that we're ugly?
Yes, with Jesus's endless grace.
With Jesus.
That's the loophole. So you get to go be a troll on the internet.
Oh.
And then you go like a post for Jesus and then do some real American, like Trump liking stuff. Then you can go back to being a troll. It's like a cycle.
Okay, got it.
Infinity loop. It's an infinity loop.
Excellent.
All right. I've got a 1-star review,
Okay.
which we don't get often because you guys are just so damn likable. But it's titled Negative, Self-Righteous, Terrible. And this is from Melissa D. Harris.
Okay.
She writes, these women are self-righteous, self-important, miserable women who have nothing but negativity to spread. They attack and belittle other women, and it's truly embarrassing. At their old age, you think they'd be more mature.
You would think.
You would think. I mean, that's a real criticism.
You would think that we would be more mature, Melissa, but
we're
in
not.
fact, we are not. We just fought with a grandma who thinks she's the #1 realtor in the country named Deb. We fucking hate her, and we think she's shitty at selling houses.
Right. And we think that she's ugly, and we haven't even seen her picture.
Oh, I've seen her picture.
Oh, you have?
If we need 12 hours of beauty sleep, Deb needs 15. So, Melissa, everything you said was spot on with the 1-star review because, number one, we just belittled Deb.
Right.
Actually, it was self-defense, but that's neither here nor there.
We didn't take the high road. I think we can all agree on that.
And we are profoundly immature.
Profoundly.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of Deb, I'm sure she follows this news organization, but I have an article from Fox News.
Okay.
And they ran a story that's titled, "Libraries Have Turned into Drug-Infested Sex Dens."
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
So host Jesse Waters told his fellow Fox News panelists Thursday that an underreported crime spree had spread through public library systems, and he had one person to blame. He quotes, "Libraries are no longer safe in President Joe Biden's America."
Well, I mean, that's the obvious link. First of all, I get so sick of legitimately news coming out that has no basis in fact. I remember I was listening to the Jesse Waters takedown of us, and it was talking about Kamala Harris liked porn in libraries. And I was just like, where is he getting that? Like, I don't understand. But the leaps are so big and so broad, like they don't connect at all. And I dare say, libraries are not drug dens and sex houses. I mean, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
You don't even have to ask, do I think? Of course they're not.
Of course they're not.
Of course they're not like dens of iniquity with orgies and people shooting up. Everybody knows that that is patently false. But
Right.
what they're doing is there is an assault on intellectualism and knowledge, which is total moves of fascist people.
Right.
They want to, where do you go to get knowledge? A library. And so they want to demean that. And this is all a way to take our eye off the ball to where one could argue America's public schools are shooting grounds. And there's actual evidence that can back that up. But they don't want to talk about that because they want the gun lobby to get billions of dollars for hashtag Deb, #1 realtor, hashtag Jesus's endless grace. That's their fucked up world of America. And Jesse Waters is a total snowflake.
Oh, the biggest.
I mean, he is Puss Boy 101. The fact that that could even come out of his mouth is insane.
It makes no sense.
What did the internet have to say in response?
They obviously had a field day. So one Twitter user, @ThomasACStout, responds and said, "I have not been offered drugs or sex in 12 years of library work, and I demand this injustice be rectified." @JohnDevour writes, "It surprises me that Fox News would promote libraries, but every little bit helps." And the last one I have is from D. Harma Scholar. They're right. "Y'all think libraries got sexton money in this economy?"
Yeah, people just, they just make shit up. And you know what? Here's one thing that really bothers me in this election year. All I've heard about is, oh my God, the crime. The crime from all the right wingers. The crime is just catapulting, Alvin Bragg's prosecuting Donald Trump. And New York City is just full of crime. Fun fact, if you look at the data and the numbers, crime in New York City is very, very low. And crime in the United States as a whole is really on the downturn. So it's infuriating that nobody looks this shit up, that they just believe it. Oh my God. I forgot to tell you this. You're going to die. Okay. So last night I was watching a reporter who had been to a Trump rally the weekend before. So he was interviewing these Trump people after they went to the rally. Donald Trump kept saying, I cannot believe 42,000 people came out to my rally. He said 42,000 several times.
Okay.
These people that he interviewed on the way out were like, I mean, it's just so good to be here with 42,000 other people. The reporter said at best, it was 5,000. So they're in a stadium. They know there's 5,000, or they know objectively 42,000 is not the right number. But he repeats it so much and they believed it.
This surprises me zero. And the situation with the libraries and them saying this stuff and crime and them saying about crime rates is because Fox News is mainly viewed by white people that think that immigrants and black and brown people are taking their jobs. Jobs, I would argue, that they're probably not physically fit enough to perform themselves.
Just a wild guess.
And it's just an easy thing to throw out there. I always know when I'm talking to somebody that watches Fox News, because they tell on themselves. They talk about the border immediately, or they talk about crime. After Joe Biden's State of the Union address, this man said, yeah, I've watched every State of the Union my whole life. And this guy's probably late 60s. I've never seen one like that. And I was like, really? How so? And he's like, it was like a campaign speech. And I was like, were you in a coma during the Trump years? Are you serious right now? It's like, it's unbelievable. But that's what Fox News tells them. And then they go out and echo it immediately. And none of these people are intellectually curious. They just take everything at face value and they have their whole life. Here's what your religion is. They just accept it. Here's what you have to do in your life. They just accept it. And then they have all these little side hustle projects, like maybe hookers on Craigslist over here, gay hookers over there. And so, I mean, they're all just cranky, just like Deb, it's just like all chips in on Trump, all chips in on Jesus, side hustle. I'm going to go troll people that disagree with me on the internet.
Right. I'm going to be mean-spirited.
Why does she give a shit?
Why didn't she just not listen?
Because she can't. For some people, I think it's so enticing to be angry all the time.
Well, and to say, instead of being mad at my life or myself or my decisions or my circumstance, I can be mad at somebody else. I can blame Joe Biden that the libraries are sex and drug dens, which they're not.
The situation is, though, a lot of these people genuinely might not have anything to be upset about. They should be going out and retiring and enjoying the fact that they've raised their kids, that potentially they could be close to being out of debt if they're boomers, and maybe their houses are paid for. They could go on a few trips and enjoy their grandkids. But instead, you have a news organization that is just riling people up. And I would argue that the pastors in their churches are doing the exact same thing, where it is their number one thing they feel that they have to do is be against people.
Right.
When everything, their whole lives and everything in the world to date has kind of been shifted and geared towards helping them. And in their last days, they're going to go down punching, mad at trans kids, mad at gay people, mad at immigrants, mad at us. I mean, just mad at all this shit so that they can go vote for a man who can't even put on his makeup very well.
Right. Who cannot put on his makeup well. He damn sure can't style his hair.
Yeah, that's their guy.
That's their guy. Mm-hmm. Banging out porn stars and Playboy playmates.
Yeah.
But
here's the situation. I could give a shit. If he fucks porn stars.
Nope.
But I'm not the one following every Jesus account imaginable. I am not some moral hypocrite. I feel like if the president wants to fuck a porn star, it's just genuinely not my business.
Right.
But what Trump did was he lied about it and he tried to impose election interference with it. But I don't know how the mental and moral gymnastics that these people have to go through to get to the end of the road that he's okay is fascinating to me. But I think you were just telling me before we came in here, Katie Couric said these people are anti-intellectual, and I completely concur.
Completely concur.
These are just not, these are black and white thinkers that do not understand nuance, that do not understand critical thinking. And when critical questions are asked, they get offended. They're triggered and they're total snowflakes. When somebody asks an actual penetrating question like, hey, Deb, aside from being the number one realtor, how do you justify, loving Jesus so much and following all these Jesus accounts and telling Angie and Jen that they need to go fuck themselves and that they make you want to vomit and that Trump fucks porn stars? How do you reconcile all that, Deb? She'll be, Jesus is grace.
That's an easy one.
Yeah. So anyway, that's been really uplifting.
We have just really been positive.
Listen up. It's an election year. And Pumps and I are in on this thing.
Yep.
Like, these girls out there and women out there have lost rights. And it's something that is very, very serious, something that has to be taken seriously. And we have to stay on topic.
That's right.
We got to call out the Debs of the world.
Yep.
Highlight how ignorant and cruel that breed of politics is, and advocate for women and marginalized groups.
That's right. They're all lumped in together.
They are pumps.
Yep.
Kind of like your dragons.
I would say those are slumped in together.
All right. So today we have a guest, and he is one of my and Pump's favorite Instagrammers that we follow, but he's not just an Instagrammer. He is a political social media personality and a podcaster. And you may know him as Matt XIV. We know him as Matt Bernstein. Pumps, I can't come up with enough words to properly articulate how much I love Tubby and Cha-Cha, my dogs.
Loving a dog is the purest love because it always comes back to you in full.
That's why today's episode is sponsored by the ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program. In today's world, we insure a lot, from cars and homes to cell phones and even travel plans. But what about insurance for your cat or dog? With ASPCA Pet Health Insurance, you can focus on the care your pet deserves and cover what matters most. The ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program offers customizable accident and illness plans, making it easier for pet parents like you to help your pet get the care they may need. The ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program has been around for over 18 years, and they've helped more than 600,000 pets during that time. They allow you to customize your plan, helping ensure that your pet's plan is as unique as they are. Because vet bills can really add up, especially when you're least expecting it. It's simple. Use their app to submit a claim, and you'll receive reimbursement for eligible vet bills directly into your bank account. To explore coverage, visit aspcapetinsurance.com/hadit. That's aspcapetinsurance.com/hadit. This is a paid advertisement. Insurance is underwritten by either Independence American Insurance Company or United States Fire Insurance Company and produced by PTZ Insurance Agency Limited. The ASPCA is not an insurer and is not engaged in the business of insurance. Pumps, you have got to get ready for this summer. I've been telling you time and time again, and that's why I want to refer you to our friends at Shady Rays. They're going to have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. And you lose sunglasses all the time. That's why I think you partnering with Shady Rays is going to be a game changer for you and your eyes.
Not only do I lose sunglasses, I break them all the time because I drop them. I love the Shady Rays policy that every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements.
That's incredible. If your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, you do not have to sweat it, Pumps. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements. Listener, exclusively for you, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal to get ready for the summer sun. Head to shadyrays.com and use the code HADIT for 40% off sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people, including Pumps. Pumps, Spring is finally here, so as you know, it's out with the old and in with the new. But don't splurge on anything new without getting cash back in return when you use Ibotta.
Ibotta is a free app that gives you cash back on everything you shop for on hundreds of items on groceries, beauty supplies, and toys.
The average Ibotta user earns $256 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, that flight you've been eyeing, or the fancy dinner you've been craving. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code HADIT when you register. All you have to do is go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use the code HADIT. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or the App Store, and be sure to use the code HADIT. All right, let's welcome to I've Had It, our favorite Instagram follow, Matt Bernstein. Matt, how are you today?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I have loved this show for a long time. I'm so honored to be here, and I'm pretty good. I was just on a little vacation. I try to do that sometimes to get offline and, just so my brain doesn't melt entirely. And I'm happy to be back in the routine and here with you.
So, listeners, if you don't follow Matt, you should, because he, in my opinion, lays out facts about issues that pertain to what I believe issues that are all connected, which are women's rights, gay rights, trans rights, Black and brown rights, marginalized rights. He links, there's a thread throughout all of his posts that shows how all of these civil rights are connected.
That's right.
And I think you lay it out so clearly and so obviously, yet there's so many stupid people that tend not to get it.
Yeah, I don't even know if I would say that. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt,
Oh, we don't.
And
You're younger than us.
I mean, my core belief is that most people are reachable, right? I feel like we live in this very politicized, divisive moment. I know, yada, yada. Everyone talks about how bad the division is. But I think there is a thing that a lot of people feel, which is that we're doomed to conflict. And, the family members that don't see us are doomed to never seeing us. And I like to think that a lot more people are a lot more reachable than we give each other credit for. And with that maybe delusional optimism, I try to approach, the internet and hope that people get it eventually.
I want to believe what you said, that most people are reachable, but we live in the Bible Belt, and there are some people that are just, maybe they're reachable, but they're not bendable. They might, in polite conversations, say, yeah, I'm not going to get wound up about gay people or whatever. And they might say what's appropriate to say in those moments, but they're not going to go vote in a way that lifts everybody up. Where are you from?
So I'm from New Jersey.
Okay.
Where it's pretty blue, but it really depends where you live. Where I grew up specifically, it was pretty down the middle. But also that's what I love about you two, is that I look at you and and I say this with love, you look like you're from the Bible Belt. And I think
Matt.
which I actually think is a compliment. I have a great affinity for the South, and I have a great affinity for actually red states generally, which is something that I talk about from time to time online, is that, there is this prevailing attitude coastally, and then also in the coastal Northeast where I'm from, which is rednecks in the South, and can't we just cut off the Bible Belt from this country so we could progress and all of this stuff. And it's there are queer people in all of those states. There are all sorts of marginalized people in all of those states. There are great allies in all of those states. There are people who are working to make queer people feel safe in all of those states. And so, I don't know, I hear a lot from my followers online about hey, I'm a trans person living in Arkansas or whatever. And it's no, we can't actually just get rid of those states. There are people who not only live there, but people who want to live there. Like, not everyone wants to move to New York or LA or whatever. Like, we should make all of these spaces safe for all of those people without being like, well, you should just scrounge around and somehow find the money to move to like one of the coasts or something.
Right. No,
No, I
think-
agree with that.
I think that's a really good point. Okay. I want to shift gears. When we emailed with you, we asked you what you'd had it with. And right out of the gates, top of your email is J.K. Rowling. What the fuck is going on
What
there?
is?
We haven't talked about this on the podcast. I don't get it.
I don't understand
What is her deal?
So do you guys know what TERF means?
No, we're not cool.
No, we're not cool at all.
What does TERF mean? Teach us.
So TERF means Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist. It's an acronym. And it's basically this group of people that J.K. Rowling is essentially the reigning queen of, that they identify as feminists, and their whole ethos is around like, oh, this is only for cis women. And in fact, trans people and, trans women calling themselves women and trans women being included in feminism is like at odds with the feminist cause. And so in practice, while they, identify as feminists, they're rarely talking about abortion. They're rarely talking about girls' access to education. They're rarely talking about, about any of the issues that feminists are, that like, in my opinion, real feminists are talking about all the time. They're only ever talking about like, fuck trans people. And so J.K. Rowling has spent the last 5 years, basically all day, every day, just ranting about the transgenders on Twitter. And it is a fucking wild spectacle.
Okay,
It's unhinged.
Here's my take on this. Like, okay, I'm a woman. I'm a progressive woman. I always vote for women's rights. I would consider myself to be a feminist. I have 2 sons that I've raised to be feminists. I am not in any way, shape, or form threatened, nor is my femininity, by the existence of trans women. If anything, as a woman, as what I perceive to be by nature a little bit more the empathetic gender, I have nothing but empathy for trans people, because nobody in their right fucking mind would choose to be trans in the middle of the fucking Bible Belt. Nobody would do that. But I do not get, out of all the hills to die on, trans people are less than 1% of the population, and they tend to have an incredibly high suicide rate. So why not support and love and embrace these people? I mean, when you watch Fox News or if you get on Twitter, they act like there's just these trans terrorists running around blowing shit up.
Right.
Last time I checked, it was a bunch of MAGA people doing that shit.
Right.
On January
MAGAs.
6th.
Yeah, I mean, there's such a distortion of scale with all of this, right? It's like, if you have just been watching conservative media over the last 2 years, you'd think that like trans people were literally running the government, running all industries.
Yes.
It's like, it's
true.
It's just not true. You'd think that like women's sports were actually being overrun by trans women. I don't know I know one trans athlete. And he's a trans guy, and he swam on the men's Harvard swim team. But it's such manufactured outrage on the whole. And then in the case of J.K. Rowling, I think she has done something that a lot of people do in a lot of different ways, especially on like kind of conspiratorial parts of the internet, where she, you get in your echo chambers online. And I think J.K. Rowling lives online. And I'm not knocking her for that, because so do I. My screen time is 10 hours a day. I'm not proud of it. It is what it is. But you have to open the window and like breathe in the fresh air sometimes. And I just don't think J.K. Rowling has done that, right? I think she is consuming media close to 24 hours a day from other very transphobic, feminist identifying people. And I think she is genuinely convinced that trans people, and I think especially trans women, are like going to start attacking cis women in the streets or something. Like,
Yeah,
I think she is convinced that this is like a real issue. And to be clear, listener, it is not.
That's what I don't get about all this. It's like you're manufacturing somewhere to put your rage. And it's the lack of empathy. Like if you're a feminist, you know that women have suffered at the hands of the patriarchy, misogyny, sexism, all of that. So why would you double down on a trans person? I don't see how that correlates, I guess. I mean, I'm still back in here on turf. Like y'all are talking and I'm thinking, I don't get how those coexist.
Well, it's misplaced rage, right? I did an episode about her recently with Natalie Wynn, ContraPoints from YouTube, which we talked about this a lot more. But like, instead of correctly blaming patriarchy for all of these things that cisgender women have to suffer through, it's like, well, it's hard to do that because what can we all talk about dismantling patriarchy. That's really fucking hard to do. And no one has seemed to found an easy route to doing that. It is much less difficult to bully and demean trans people because there's already an entire apparatus that makes that happen.
Well,
and
I think they've had to move the goalposts, like it was at first. I remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, the George W. Bush era, it was the gay agenda. Agenda. It was the big gay agenda. And so they were able to drive out evangelicals because it's such a big voter group and say, oh, they're going to make gay marriage, blah, blah, blah. Well, surprise, surprise. Nobody gives a shit. There are people that do. I'm not saying that. But in general, the numbers support progressive causes. And that's a big misconception in the United States. They think that they're a silent majority, and they're not. They're a minority. So the court, we have gay marriage. So then they're like, well, oh shit, everybody's okay with this. Gay people are adopting kids. They're having surrogates. What can we do? So then they had to move the goalposts and then go after trans kids. And I think it's important for our listeners to understand the first time you hear, not you, Matt, because you're young and your generation is so much more open-minded and accepting, but for more listeners our age, the first time you might hear that somebody is trans, you kind of think, well, that seems weird. And the reason we think that is because we accept everything as a binary choice. For all of these decades, everything has either been boy or girl, man or woman. But I implore all of the listeners who don't understand this issue that people do not choose this. This is not a choice. They are just trying to be who they are. And the parents that are accepting of their kids have researched this and understand how high the suicide rates are for trans kids. And it needs attention and acceptance and love in early stages for their child to go on to live a life. And at the end of the day, why does anybody give a shit if a man wears a skirt, if women wear pantsuits? Why do you care? It's not that big of a deal. Matt today is putting on some lip gloss with his fantastic fingernails. And all I want to say is I think you look fucking great. I love it.
Well, thank you. I do like this shade of berry. It's a good one.
You look nice and like perky, puffy without being overdone. Okay, since we're on the fingernails, I have to ask. Because every time I watch your videos, I'm like, I love the nails. Here are my two questions. How do you type? How do you wipe your ass?
How to wipe my ass.
Yes!
I knew you were going to ask it. Everyone has the same two questions. What I tell people about the nails is 2 weeks. There's a 2-week break-in period when you start getting like long, long nails. And for me, that 2 weeks was like years ago. But for those first 2 weeks, I was not functional. Couldn't do a thing. Couldn't tie my shoes. Couldn't put on socks. Couldn't zip up pants. Nothing. After 2 weeks, maybe 3, you forget that they're there entirely.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of people ask me how I wipe my ass. I find that a little bit confusing because like, I don't know, like, are people shoving their nails up their ass in order to wipe? That's
well,
never
no, here's what I would think. Like, when you wipe, like, would it drag? Would it,
Does it penetrate the toilet paper?
Right.
And then you've
Does
got
it get in
shit
the
on
toilet
your hands.
paper?
That's
Then
what she's getting at.
And then do you have to, like, swab under your nails?
Do you have breakthroughs? Do you have breakthroughs where the shit is touching your nails and or skin?
Never. No, there are never. Oh my gosh, there are no breakthroughs. What I will say, what I will say is that the most dependable way to do it is take the roll, these 4 fingers, wrap the paper around,
That
and
makes
then
sense.
kind of flat hand.
See, I
nails are
didn't.
covered by the paper.
Never would have occurred to me, Matt. That's
All right. Okay.
That's
so
a
maybe
great point. Because
it's more of
I'm a baller.
hack than I give it credit for.
Homes.com knows that when it comes to home shopping, it's never just about the house or condo. It's about the home. And what makes a home is more than just the house or property. It's the location and neighborhood. If you have kids, it's also schools, nearby parks, and transportation options. That's why Homes.com goes above and beyond to bring home shoppers the in-depth information they need to find the right home. And when I say in-depth, I'm talking deep. Each listing features comprehensive information about the neighborhood, complete with a video guide. They also have details about schools with test scores, state rankings, and student-to-teacher ratio. They even have an agent directory with the sales history of each agent. So, when it comes to finding a home, not just a house, this is everything you need to know. This episode of I've Had It is sponsored by BetterHelp. Pumps, this year is already going by so quickly. And, I think sometimes it's important to pause and take inventory when you feel overwhelmed of all the things that you're proud of.
I absolutely agree. And what I like to do most is sit down with my BetterHelp therapist in the privacy of my own home in my comfy clothes and just unload and touch base on where I am in my life.
Listener, if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's online, it's designed to be convenient, it's flexible and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Take a moment. Visit BetterHelp.com/hadit today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/hadit. Let's move on to our game called Had It or Hit It. Oh my God. Welcome to Had It or Hit It. I would hit it.
Had it.
Had it. I hit it every day, sometimes twice a day. Okay, Matt, had it or hit it, Coachella.
Oh God, I have to say, I've never really cared, but I don't know. I've seen enough videos this year that have given me sufficient FOMO. I don't know, like Kesha going on stage with Renee Rapp and then Chappell Roan. Like there's a lot of excellent lesbianism happening at Coachella that I do really wish I could see live.
The lesbians are like so in right now. It's peak lesbian era right now.
Lesbianism is back.
It is peak lesbianism. Our executive producer of this fucking heaping pile of dog shit of a podcast, lesbian.
And that's why it's good.
She's over there smiling from ear to ear. Okay. Had it or hit it, Ben Shapiro.
Oh, fuck Ben Shapiro. You knew what I was going to say to that. You're baiting me.
I am.
Fuck Ben Shapiro. I mean, God.
I hate him. Can we talk about his meltdown about Barbie and about Cardi B's WAP song? It's crazy.
I just don't get why he's the most famous Jewish guy with a squeaky voice when it should be me. Ben Shapiro it's very entertaining to see what he gets mad at. But, the sinister undertone is that he's also one of these like right-wing tastemakers, right? When he gets mad at something, he's telling you what to be mad about. And he has an audience of millions of people who listen to him.
It's just like manufactured rage over nothing.
Well, and here's the thing. I have a hot news flash for Ben Shapiro. A lot of his listeners are evangelical Christians. And if you're a Jewish man, the evangelicals just want you to be in your place so that when Jesus comes, then you can go straight to hell and burn forever. So it's not that big of an allyship on the evangelicals' part. Like the Jewish people are just to be in a geographic location for the rapture preppers. That's why they are friends with the Jewish people. That is the only reason.
I wish more people talked about that. It's really fucking sinister.
It is. It's like, we need for you to be in your place so that we can jump on the back of Jesus's horse and go up to white Jesus, pearly gates, capitalism. Also, the homoerotic version of Jesus we really like. He is posing up there with Donald Trump. Fuck you, Ben Shapiro. You're going to burn in hell. I mean, that's their mentality.
Yeah, those Donald Trump Bibles or something.
Oh my, it's just more than I
Have
can
you
take.
seen that? What about the homoerotic, all the photographs of Trump that are so homoerotic?
The
where they're
NFTs.
photoshopped where he has like the muscles and then the abs.
Oh yeah, yeah. Those he was selling like Trump NFTs where he was like a big buff. Oh,
And
God.
it's like, you don't look like that, Presh. You just don't.
Yeah, I don't think anyone thinks he does.
No.
Okay.
I think he does.
Had it or hit it, Libs of TikTok.
Girl. Yeah, I need to take a Xanax after this podcast. God, yeah, Libs of TikTok. She's just like this lady who is in her late 20s, apparently lives in LA and just posts all day like random pictures of like random gay teachers. And essentially like encourages her followers to dox them and is, blaming all of these random people she gets hold of like indoctrinating the children. And she's just such a fucking loser.
You know who her BFF is?
Yeah.
Ryan Walters.
He put her on the Oklahoma school board.
Yes. She was put by Ryan Walters on the Oklahoma school board.
Yeah.
This woman is from Brooklyn.
Right.
She lives in LA.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She has been to Oklahoma one time.
Right.
And it was after she was put on the fucking school board.
Yeah. Have a hot news flash for you, Oklahoma parents. This woman does not believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. And let me just tell you, I don't believe that either, but that's a big fucking prerequisite in the Bible Belt. I mean, it's a
Especially
big
for the school board.
fucking deal here. And so it's interesting to me that they have welcomed this woman who's so full of hate and not a believer of Jesus into the fold so easily. It's kind of fascinating to me.
Well, because she's not being sold to Oklahomans or Ryan Walters as a Jew. She's being sold as a queer hater.
Exactly.
Right. Just hate.
I have Gen Z kids, and I love how the petty shit that our generations worry about, you don't worry about. You don't worry about gender. You don't worry about sexuality. That's all generally stuff that we should all just accept and then move on to fight the good fights, like gun control. But sadly, because of all of these religious nuts around this country, y'all have to fight these things and just fight for your existence. And your Instagram page is phenomenal. It's a 12 out of 10. It is a fantastic follow. I want everyone to go follow it. And you also have a podcast called A Little Bit Fruity, which I love the name.
Yes, it's called A Bit Fruity.
A Bit Fruity.
Yes, we talk about a lot of the things that we talked about today in some detail and some, we do some research beforehand, and it's a good time. If you like my squeaky ramblings, then
I love it.
You might like A Bit Fruity.
Okay, and the Instagram is at Matt, MATTXIV. And so listeners, go follow Matt there. Go listen to his podcast, A Bit Fruity with Matt Bernstein.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so much fun.
Thanks, Matt.
Bye,
Great
Matt.
to meet you.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
I mean, I just really like Gen Z.
I really do too. They're a lot smarter and more thoughtful than I was at that age.
Yeah, and I think it's wild, like the whole, like from their perspective, they're sitting there accepting everybody, accepting, everybody's sexuality, gender. They're not worried about that. They just accept the person for who they are, who the person says they are. They love and embrace them, and they move on. And then you see the J.K. Rowlings of the world, like dying on that hill. It's just really bizarre.
I have to say, like, when he started explaining the whole turf thing, I just got in my head thinking about it. I mean, I don't get it. I'm going to have to research that because I'm fascinated by that. I just think that's a lousy excuse for mean-spiritedness.
Well, and I don't know how that helps women.
I don't either.
I don't know how pushing
any of it
other
does.
people down is going to help the cause of women, because women, more than likely, 100% give birth to trans children.
Right.
So it's just really bizarre. But anyway, listener, this is an election year, and we are partnering with our friends at Vote Forward. And we have a landing page in the show notes. And what we love about Vote Forward is it is a way to engage in the political process this election cycle. I did it 4 years ago. You go online and you adopt like 12 or 24 voters, and they send you their name and address, and these people typically live in a red state, and you write them a handwritten letter and, hi, my name is Pumps. I live in a red state. I can tell you that voting is very important. The last election impacted my life because now my daughter has fewer rights than I do. I hope that you go out and vote, blah, blah, blah. And it's a great way. It's a great inexpensive way to engage and feel like you're doing something, because voter turnout is key in every single election, particularly these swing states. So go to our show notes and go visit Vote Forward. It's a fantastic way to be engaged. Go to our link in bio. You know all the stuff. Stay tuned for our post show in Patreon for Patreon members only. Let's hit up our post show. I think we'll get Pumps' dog in here for the post show.
Yes, I've been missing him.
I know it's probably time for a breastfeeding.
Yes.
And go check out our merch, and Pumps, tell him.
We will see you next Tuesday or Thursday or both.